Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London, your host. If this is your first Geekscape, strap yourselves in for some comic book talk, movies, video games, comics for sure. This one, TV, maybe a little bit. Haven't watched a whole lot of TV. I did watch the Eyes of Wakanda, the new Marvel. I think it's 4 episodes, and I enjoyed that. It's a beautiful series, and congrats to everybody. Like former Geekscape guest Mark Bernardin, who was one of the co-EPs of that series and wrote 2 of the episodes. That was fun to watch. And things have just been going fast and furious, Geekscape. So hang with me. We're going to be talking comics today with my good friend Tony Fleecs. We're going to be looking forward to GalaxyCon San Jose. It's this coming weekend. I was hired by GalaxyCon, as I've said in past episodes, as one of their moderators. We're going to be focusing on comics. I'm like the literary comics moderator guy. Other people will be doing it, but if you look at my Instagram at geekscape.net, you're going to find, like, I think I have a zillion panels and things. And they were like, Jonathan, do you want a lighter load? And I was like, no, it's in the same room the whole weekend talking comics. And I get to talk to Timothy Zahn, who, like, in middle school, when you start hearing, wait, there's more Star Wars coming out, but there's in these books, Heir to the Empire, and you pick up this book and it's the best Star Wars since you walked out of the theater for Jedi. And I was a kid, like, it's the best Star Wars. And so I get to finally talk to Timothy Zahn. I saw him at San Diego Comic-Con. I was like, shit, I know. I'll meet him in San Jose, and I hope to meet you too in San Jose. So this coming weekend, we're going to talk a little bit about San Jose because my buddy Tony Fleecs will also be there. He's here on Geekscape. And that's about it. Sorry you guys didn't get an episode last week, but you got 3 the episode prior, the San Diego Comic-Con special. You guys got our Fantastic Four thoughts. I got to talk to Chuck Russell, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and The Mask. He was awesome. Hope you guys go out and support his film this coming weekend. You guys got your Geekscape, so you're going to get a lot more with this GalaxyCon thing. So let me start the show. I'll throw a little bit of the theme song at you guys. I'll come back. We'll talk to Tony Fleecs about making comics, and we'll look forward to San Jose and GalaxyCon. All right, Geekscapists, let's start the show. My buddy Tony Fleecs is here. You guys know him from multiple Geekscapes, but he's also got the Feral book from Image going on right now. He's writing The Thing. It's a miniseries for Marvel, and we've known him going back to, we got Stray Dogs. We got tons of stuff. Local Man, my favorite Image series. Top 5 Image of all time for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I was a Marvel guy in the 90s. And the Image stuff that I liked was the Max. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt, but the Dale Keown schedule there wasn't enough, right? And I was like a big Wetworks fan. I thought Wetworks was badass, but there were 3 issues over the span of 2 years or something crazy on the Wetworks.
That one, when it came out, it started coming out regularly, but it just came out very late because Will's had personal stuff.
He had family health stuff going on.
Go back to the Philippines.
In the Philippines, and Wetworks was awesome just because damn could Will Sprotasio draw a Colossus or something, when he's doing those X books.
What was cool about Wetworks, and tied in with the delay, was that in the time that in between them founding Image Comics and then Wetworks coming out, they really figured out computer coloring. So when they finally did the book that was about people that were all shiny and covered in metal, they had perfected color in metal. So that issue 1, when it showed up, it was just the shiniest comic you ever saw.
It was beautiful. There was a comic shop next to, well, I worked in a comic shop, but on top of working in the comic shop, there was before I had the job there, my mom was dating a guy who had a bingo hall, and next to the bingo hall in that same sort of like strip mall, it was a comic shop. And I just kept looking for like, hey, is the second, it was before any of this internet stuff. So you had to just show up and be like,
is it out?
The Max should be out by now. And so that, but yeah, local man to me, because the X-Men were still strong in the 90s. So you're gonna read the X books, and all love to Rob and to Mark Silvestri and everyone who we just love coming out of those books. But like, we love the character. I love the characters. So when you saw a lot of the books coming out of Image, they felt like sort of the X books and a lot of the DNA. And when you have Jonathan's comic book store job, you can only kind of really flip through them, but you really can only buy the ones that you wanted to keep. And that's why I kind of went and stayed with the Marvel for the bit through the 90s. With the Local Man, your book, it's such a love letter to it, not to take away from you and Tim's like modern storytelling, because I think it's awesome, and it feels Geekscapes. There's a hardcover Local Man edition out that you just spend the money, buy it, because it feels like a
hardcover, and it's got everything.
It feels like a really good TV show. Like if you like the HBO shows, if you like the miniseries, like it feels like that, but it's superheroes, but not a superhero team. It's a superhero has-been. And there's mysteries about going back to the origin of the team and all that stuff. It's such a cool little mystery series, and I really love it, man. Can't wait to see it on HBO or wherever it ends up.
Yeah, we're gonna do
my lips to God's ears.
TV's whatever. That always seems like a real long shot, but we'll do more comics eventually. We wrapped it up last year for a little while, and Tim and I are working on another thing in the interim, and then. But even at Comic-Con, we're sitting around talking about like, oh, we do this with Local Man, and then he's like, what about this? And I'm like, well, that sounds more like the second arc after we came back, not the first arc. We have to do something that, so we're always figuring it out. We're just trying to figure out how to make it work, because the book, Tim and I are both artists, both writers. We both wrote the book. We both drew the book. And so it was a very labor-intensive book, because at the same time as I was drawing 20, 24 pages, whatever a month of Local Man, I'd also be writing it. And I'd also be writing Feral, and I thumbnail Feral, and I letter Local Man and Feral. And then, I was writing Army of Darkness, and I was writing Uncanny Valley. And now I'm writing The Thing, and I'm writing Omega Kids for Marvel and other stuff. And so it's just like trying to figure out how to make all that fit. I can draw a Local Man in like 3 weeks if I'm really cranking, but then that means I also have to do every other job in the fourth week of the month, and then that doesn't account for if I want to go see a movie, or if I want to go on a date, or if I want so it's like just trying to figure out how to make Local Man fit in is besides just coming up with a story. It's like figuring out how it works, how to make it.
You say it's labor intensive, but I think the process that you have with Feral, that you had with Stray Dogs, I think that's labor intensive too, because there's multiple collaborators on that one, and there's multiple layers to it. You're not just sending it to an artist and they're penciling and then an inker and there's back. There's multiple collaborators on the art side beyond what a typical comic is. So I think you like doing this, Tony. I think the labor intensive thing, like, you love it. And the result is there, Geekscapists.
Thank you. It's definitely my fault. I'm not good at letting go. And so I definitely, I like to do as much as I can on the books, just because I have a level that I like to put them out at. I like them to be, you got to be at least this good to ride this ride. So
yeah. And it's something that you are teaching me in your work. I got to tell you that the last issue of Uncanny Valley, I left it on my bedside. I did finish it. I read it last week, but I didn't want it to end. I don't want you to Local Man me again, man.
Yeah.
Local Man, I felt, was an ongoing, and I mean, and it sounds like it is. It sounds like that universe isn't done, this and that.
Right.
But With Uncanny Valley, I knew it was finite. It says to be concluded. It is a miniseries. Geekscapists go out and find out Uncanny Valley from Boom. It's awesome. So I left that plus-sized last issue. Left it on my bedside. Was like, I think I'm gonna read these other comics before I get to it. I'm just gonna save that for when I'm ready. Is that lame?
No, Tone still hasn't read the end of Preacher. He starts reading the thing that he likes, and he's just like, well, I don't want that to end, so he lets it just exist out there. That's not me, but I appreciate the sentimentality of it for sure.
To put it in context, Geekscapists, the ending of Preacher I read while holding line for episode 1. That tells you, as a trade paperback, like not even single issues. At that point, Preacher was in trade, and one of my, maybe my most distinct memory from, you had to save line for episode 1. You had to make a schedule with your friends and be like, hey, I got Tuesdays. I'll skip school. I'll do this. I'll do the overnight. And you had to camp out for those episode 1 tickets. Yeah, and Preacher, I read, I had 3 trades, the final 3 trades of Preacher. And that's what I was reading in line. And that's my memory of episode 1. And then, of course, I remember the lights coming down, that crawl starting up, and me reading the crawl and being like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's fun. You read such a satisfying story. And then you were like, here comes another one.
can't wait to love this thing. And remember the hype when the lights came down? And you went to see, I remember seeing The Waterboy or Little Nicky because they had the trailer on it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the sales of that weekend, is like, hey, I know you downloaded this trailer for an hour on your 56 kilobyte modem, and then you played it. But here is you can go see it if you watch Little Nicky this weekend or whatever it was. It was the Sandler movie. It might have been The Waterboy. And
that was first.
And then the hype of the lights coming down and all those lights, people brought lightsabers, of course. And they're like, holy shit, oh my God. Or when the opening, boom.
Yeah.
And you're into it. And then they start talking about trade federation and stuff. And you're like, yeah, I like this. This is cool.
Give them a minute.
Okay.
Moisture farms and stuff for a while, so
let them cook
to it.
I don't know, man. When that 10th of 4 starts in on episode 4, and you're like, oh, this chip just keeps going, and then you have the hallway battle.
Guess you're right. There was a lot of.
Didn't start with a trade embargo.
Nobody went in the ventilation shaft.
You know what? You got to let them cook, and that as a creator, that everybody has their opinion on everybody else's work. And part of the Don't Hate Create shirt that we started up at Geekscape was, we just, if you really gonna hate on something, or you're really gonna critique something, it's put your hat in the ring and make something. And I think that garage from early Geekscape years, this was Tone Rodriguez's garage in North Hollywood, you guys hanging out there with Chris and everybody, that garage was kind of and it took me 10 more years, but that garage was oh man, this is like in Chasing Amy. They're making comic books in this.
Better for sure than Chasing Amy, dirtier. Yeah.
But where did you start getting the kind of confidence? And maybe that's just my own projection, but for me, it was a matter of confidence. It's can you creatively sustain this? And it's yet to be decided, but thank you, Geekscapists, for the support you've given me thus far. But where did you engender that within yourself?
I think it was, I definitely understand the idea of the confidence and the sort of importance that you would put on comics, as it's so important to me. It's my favorite thing. I love to read comics. If I'm going to make one, it's got to be really, really good. And like I said,
and you want to compete with the heroes, the Liefelds and the Silvestris and the Image. I'm saying the Image people specifically, but yeah, all of them.
But for me, it was this thing has to be good enough to be comics, because comics is so important to me. And so it was always about you got to be good enough. You got to be good. And I'm harder on myself than I think a lot of people are. But at the same time as that, when I was in my early 20s, the internet was sort of going through this message board. Like, it was a lot of message board culture, and there were a lot of message boards that were really fertile, creative. People were making stuff, and it was all like proto comics. Like, nobody was. I think
they weren't zines though, were they? Were they?
No,
zines?
they were. It was like print on demand had become a thing, and so people could make a run of 50 comics if they wanted to, and just print it, and it would cost the same as if you printed 300 or whatever. So
because right now 50 would be the unit cost would be pretty bad.
Yeah. I think there was like a little bit of a difference, but it sort of democratized putting. You didn't have to order 3,000 or whatever like you would have to if you were going through like a 4-process color, with plates and stuff like that. They were just printing them out on laser printers.
Mm-hmm.
That had become a thing, and so message boards, sort of all these people started popping up and making their own comics. And I was on the Bendis message board, and I was on the Shane Glines message board, who was like an animator from Batman the Animated Series. And that was like a ton of artists were on there. Like early Nick Bradshaw was on there. Mike Waringo would be on there.
Oh my God! And these aren't just anybody's; these are people who have now produced some like Mike Waringo had a great run with Mark Waid on Fantastic Four. That's just like, I loved that run.
Perfect.
And I will tell Mark next weekend at San Jose, at GalaxyCon San Jose, like, dude, I loved your Fantastic Four run with Mike Waringo.
I've told him before. He wasn't a big Fantastic Four fan before he wrote that. He had to figure out Fantastic Four.
Mark wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll bring that up in our conversation.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And he'll be like, what are you kidding? I love Fantastic Four.
He did a great job. Like, he did a wonderful job on Fantastic Four.
It's a perfect run, I think.
But I think those message boards for you were Tony Rodriguez's garage, and really this podcast for me was I have documentarians on this podcast, so we went out and made Doc of the Dead, or we have filmmakers on the podcast, we go and make a film. We have you on the podcast and other creators, and we go and do some creating, and it's just been I think this has been the valuable community I created for myself to buoy my own, like, come on, dude.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's being around creative people. It's seeing people take chances and just go like, oh, that didn't kill them. They seem fine, And so you just sort of watch people do it. And then also cynically, it's like seeing people do something where you're like, well, I could do better than that, And you don't necessarily say that out loud, but it's important to believe in yourself in that way sometimes, and just go like, all right, well, let's put that energy into making our own thing. Because like you said,
or I would do it different, or I would take a left or they take a right.
No, I would say better.
Damn you, Tony! I gave you an out. You didn't take. I gave you. Oh. Yeah. Okay, now list the people. Now, top 5 people. Okay. I do get it, Tony. Like, yes, you do see things where you're like, hey, and especially with comics, like, hey, I spent $5 on this. I spent $4 on this. I spent $3 on this. What the F, man? It's a collection of splash pages with some prose. Like, this isn't why I get a comic. I want beat structures, and I want something a little more not cinematic, because you go to the movies for that, but like, I want something that's a comic, and inherently a comic, and only a comic. It can't be anything but a comic, and I want that stuff.
I disagree. I don't want comics to be any one thing. I like it when people take a swing. I like it when they try, if they want to do an all splash page issue.
No, but you can tell when they were running up on a deadline, because it wasn't the first several issues.
But I'm fine
suddenly
with that too. Like,
they're just putting up splash pages with like captions, and you're like,
I like that too. Like, I think I like every part of comics. I like it when they're rushed. I like it when you can sort of see what's going on in between the raindrops. You can see what the people were going through, because I go every week. I buy comics. It's not like when I get one, I'm like, this was the only one I was going to get, and they screwed it up.
Man, what would our wallets look like if it was? Like, there are times I'm sitting there at the checkout, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to be here a while. I haven't been in the store in a month, and yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but yes, like how you would want to do a thing. You go, I wouldn't have done it that way. I mean, that's where Stray Dogs came from. Like, that's where a lot of my ideas come from is like I see somebody do something and I go like I would have done it that way, and you sort of zeroing in on what the way that you would have done it is sort of you finding your voice and finding your what your creative whatever. I don't want to say milieu.
Yeah, of course. Well, you can say milieu, it's fine. But
Thank
like you like Kevin Smith says that, like, that when he watched Slacker, Richard Linklater's Slacker, while just walking around Austin, like he was like, wait, this is a movie? How can I do this? And obviously, like, you take the DNA backwards, and Linklater probably saw, I mean, he's about to come out with like his Breathless tribute movie right now, and like he looks at something like Godard and is like, oh, this is a movie, let me do this. And that obviously leads its way into Slacker, leads its way into Clerks, leads its way into what we got. But what were those where you're like, there's not enough of this, or this person's doing it right, but it's not Tony Fleecs, and I want to do it like this, but I want it to be Tony Fleecs in my story, the voices in my head, but there's something here, and I'm gonna ape it as I start out, and I'm gonna learn it as I start out. Who were those creators?
Well, so my first book was a autobiographical. It was just a one shot. It was short stories about stuff that happened in my young life. I think I was 24 when I made it. It came out.
People don't even talk about Bendis doing that, but Bendis did that as well when he started out.
He did that stuff too. But at that time, for me, it was like it was a very fertile time for autobiographical comics. It was like Craig Thompson, Jeffrey Brown, James Kolchaka. American Splendor movie came out, and so there was a big resurgence in American Splendor, Harvey Pekar stuff. But all of those, I was basically the reason I decided to do that was because I didn't know how to write. I could draw a little bit, and I was just like, well, I don't know how to make a story. I don't know what structure is, or you hear Leonard Maltin on Star Wars VHSs tell you how to do 3-act structure, but you don't. Were
you gonna sit through Save the Kid? Were you gonna sit through one of those books and like do like the Robert McKee, or were you gonna do like were you gonna do that before you
eventually? Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about, is putting comics on such a pedestal. It's like, well, it's got to be, I got to have it all nailed down. I mean, I still do that to a certain degree. Like I still will be writing something and have to go in and figure out like, all right, I really have to lock this into structure, and I really have to think of but at that time I didn't know any of that stuff, but I was a storyteller in that I would go to a bar or I would go to a party and I would just be bullshitting with people, and I would tell stories about what happened in my day, or like, funny thing happened to me. And I was good at I was a funny kid. And so I was like, the thing that I could do different here is that these are like sort of clever, and a lot of times they were sort of like idiosyncratic and like heartfelt and sort of like quirky. But I was like, I bet I could do one that's funny and that feels sort of like me, and because I was I was just a young shithead. I did a story about a young, closer to sort of like Ed Brubaker's autobio stuff. He did this book, Low Life.
I love Brubaker.
Yeah,
they've got another Brubaker Phillips coming up. Another criminal story is coming up, and I'm like, holy shit! But like back then,
he used to draw, so he like wrote and drew his own stuff. It looked almost like Archie a little bit, but his stuff was sort of like like autobiography. Anyway, I was like, I can do a different thing than what these people are doing, and so that was that was sort of the beginning of me finding my voice, and all my influencers was sort of like Bendis, Kevin Smithy, all like anything that you think a 25-year-old kid in the early 2000s would be into. That was sort of coming through in those books.
Well, Tony, we got your perspective, but we're joined by another guest.
Let's do this.
I see them prepping right now in the wings. They look great. Hey, I see you in the wings. You look great. I'm going to bring you on camera. And I'm going to probably butcher the pronunciation of their name, but joining us, Liana Kangas. Do you know each other?
We don't. I don't. No, and I'm so sorry the first time we're meeting
Don't
I'm
worry about it.
late. So
Don't worry,
that's
Liana.
usually not
You're
my
no, you're in New York, and we're in LA. So we moved earlier for you, but it's all good because there's a 3-hour time difference, and like it's all good. Like we're hanging, we're talking comics, right? Audience, we're talking comics.
I
No
appreciate that.
pressure.
I live in Memphis, so
Damn it, you didn't tell me that.
weirder and yeah,
Oh my god,
weirder. Yeah. But I've heard a
it's all
lot
good.
about both of you, so it's nice
Oh
to meet you.
no, whoa. We're gonna need a list of things that you heard, and I'm just gonna debunk them or confirm them here.
Mostly from
To-
Jan, so
Tony does have it. Tony does have a small tail, but it's halfway up his back.
Stygial, yeah.
So you're in Memphis. We're just
yes,
meeting right
yeah.
now for the first time. There's another time error that I noticed on your social media, Leon. I don't want to put you on blast, but I have the cosplay. One of the things that when Jan Jones, who's wonderful, Jan, you're wonderful. She brought me in to be one of the
Love Jan.
moderators at GalaxyCon, and she said, Jonathan, you're gonna do the comics, you're gonna do that stuff. And I was like, fantastic, love it. We are going to ask you to make like a little bit of extra stuff. Could you do a cosplay 5K? And I said, yeah, I love running every morning at conventions anyway, because I get to like see people hanging out in line. I get to know the city a little bit. That's how I learn the city. I'd love to do that. And she said, great. What time? And I was like, well, when are your doors on Saturday? She says 10 a.m. And I said, it's gonna have to be 7 so we can shower and get breakfast before the doors. But on social media, I think you on your Instagram you just put 8 a.m.
I did.
Liana,
And
they got to be there at 7 a.m. or they're not gonna catch me in my Nacho Libre outfit.
I'll definitely make sure to fix it.
It's all good.
I was not prepared for that either. I will not be in cosplay, but I will
You don't
definitely
have
be
to be.
running. So
You don't have to be. You can be like, my human form is my cosplay. It's
it
totally okay.
it
It's a comic
definitely is.
convention.
It's performative at this point.
I'll do cosplay no running. How's that?
That's fine too,
That's
Tony.
perfect.
Yeah.
I think
But
that
I won't
like
come out. I'll do that in my room.
I was watching some real trash gatekeeping happen on social media, and I think it was a woman in Fantastic Four cosplay, and she was in her Sue Storm outfit, and somebody was gatekeeping it, and all I could think was college Jonathan in the late '90s wearing his Fantastic Four shirt, right, and being like, damn, I wish there was a girl who I could talk Fantastic Four with and all this stuff. Flash forward 20-25 years, and the girl that I would have been like, oh, she's amazing that she exists, is getting blasted for having. We don't do that here. If Tony doesn't want to run, Tony doesn't have to run. If Lana doesn't want to run in cosplay, doesn't have to run in cosplay. I just feel like as the person organizing it, it'd be a little hypocritical if I didn't wear a cosplay. So I'm gonna wear cosplay, but like any pace, whatever you guys want to do, come on down, have fun. Like you don't have to run. That's for psychopaths.
Was this lady? Did she have invisible parts too? How was she doing that?
I don't know. I couldn't see anything. I mean, maybe from what I couldn't see, it was invisible. But
section was invisible.
I just feel at the moment, people are like, oh, the Superman movie didn't make what Man of Steel made, in inflation, or Ironheart this, or Thunderbolts that, or that. It's like we got. I loved Thunderbolts. I thought it was moving. I loved Ironheart. I thought it was surprising. I was like expecting some Iron Man thing, and I ended up getting something totally different, and it was great. And then I loved Fantastic Four. I loved Superman. I liked this 4-part. I was kind of like, why are people complaining if you don't like something? There's something a week later that you're gonna love, or pick up a comic, or there's so much to enjoy.
Bro,
What's this all
living.
about? I'm living, man. I'm having a good geek summer, guys. This summer of geek good. It's good. And then my buddy Josh got me a Switch 2, and I'm like, what the? I don't even have time for no Switch 2. Sorry, Liana.
That's a nice friend. No, I
so
agree with all of that stuff. I actually, I work in a lot of fandoms that have very aggressive feelings and thoughts about what I do or don't do with characters, and that's my exact view, which is like we are getting a lot more art out of this, so I'm excited. Like it doesn't have to be, art is subjective. It doesn't have to be for you. Nothing has to be for you all the time. I also miss going to a movie and then immediately going to like a diner afterwards and talking to friends about it. Now we just have online discourse, so it's
When
not as fruitful, you know.
I I know that there's a strike. I know that the strikes hurt. I know the pandemic hurt theaters and this and that, but theaters to me are those places like a comic store. It's like our little church, right? That's our
Mm.
place of worship. How do we bring people back into a movie theater? And I know ticket prices and this and that, and there's, people say superhero fatigue. I just feel like a stratification of genres would be great too, but it's a risk mitigated studio system. I'd love to go see this. There's a new horror movie out, the Josh Brolin one, that looks great from the guy. You guys heard about this one? It just came out. It's called
You're talking
Weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
that
yeah,
looked
I've been
great.
seeing a lot about that.
Like there's a lot of cool stuff out. I think you got to look a little more. You might have to go see like Triple R came out of Tagaliwood, like, and it blew everybody's minds. Like there's stuff out there. How do you get them to the theater and make it that place, right, that Liana talks about, where afterwards you're not just gonna walk out the doors, you're gonna hang out and you're gonna enjoy this meal you just ate and talk about it. How do we bring that back? Advice? I don't know.
I think it's the same as comics or anything else, right? Like just everything is expensive right now. Everything costs too much money. People don't make enough money. And the movies that they make are more expensive, and the ticket prices are. I have like the AMC thing, so it's like $25 a month, but they show me how much it's supposed to be, and whenever I buy a ticket, it's like $25 just for the movie that I'm going to. So it's like I'm not surprised when the theaters are not packed. But I don't think that's up to us as creatives. I think they make good stuff. I think it is just that the rest of the society that we live in is fucked right now, and like everything's too expensive, and nobody's really trying to figure out how to make it so regular people that work a regular job can go see a movie with their whole family and not have to take out a second mortgage.
Right. And Liana, how are things in Memphis? Like there's a pretty great creative scene there, correct? Like,
yeah, there's not a lot of comic folks out here. I think there's like one, but it's so centrally located that it's a big hub for a lot of interesting types of artists. Like the city has been booming. They've been opening up more restaurants, like more mom and pop, places, whether it be food, fashion, random stuff like that. Even I think art galleries, which to me I feel like is usually the pinnacle of determining economy, localized economy. So I think it's all where you like spend the money or like what they have going on in order to like keep it afloat.
And it should be walkable, right? Like I hear that like Detroit's in the midst of like a resurgence because of the walkability. Okay, maybe it's not
walkable.
But for me,
yeah.
Memphis is not walkable. But I grew up in like 90s Austin, and that to me was like the perfect. There's a theater, there's art, there's live music, there's all this cool stuff that you can go to, and that to me,
I've actually
perfect.
said that Memphis is exactly like 2000s Austin.
Great. Great.
It's drivable everywhere, 15 minutes or less, and has so much stuff going on all the time.
Like, yeah, if Elon's not polluting the hell out of it, it'd be perfect. Sorry about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry about that whole thing. Yeah, that's a nasty bit of news that
and
you
Google
read about.
Is going to be doing it right across the river in Arkansas, which also is right, and right there.
Let's talk process, Liana. When you do your art, how much of that stuff is flammable and can fit into a bottle with a rag, and maybe be lit and chucked? I mean,
I would say that's probably my normal emotions and or living at all times.
We're gonna get along just fine. We met just now on Geekscape when you popped in, and I have 2 panels with you at GalaxyCon San Jose this weekend.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna do just
so
fine.
excited.
Yo,
yeah.
Timothy Zahn, what the? He got me through middle school. Him and like Monkey Island video games got me through middle school, and I get to hang out and like talk to Timothy Zahn. He's gonna hate me, probably, but like you'll be there.
Yeah, I'll diffuse any type of fanboy,
Please.
I usually actually do that all the time on panels anyway, or get
Talk
things
to me
back
about
on
that.
track. So,
What
I go on a lot of panels, and it's, usually not to say that I'm added for reasons, but a lot of times I do think I'm added to mix up the conversation. And especially with my colleagues that I really like respect, I really like doing them because I feel a lot more comfortable if we get off topic to be like, well, whoa, whoa, wait. Usually I let the moderator do that, but if it's someone I know really well, it's easy to, I don't know, maybe that's like the pod. I used to podcast a long time ago, and I've worked management and retail, prior to comics. So I think that's just a natural, like if you're used to public speaking, you try to help out when possible.
Yeah, how do you feel about co-hosting the show forever?
I
I'm looking
abandoned
forward.
my own show, so I don't know
Well,
about that.
it doesn't have to be weekly. Your show can come back whenever you want. Your fans are
That's
probably
true.
still there. And you guys, who's done the GalaxyCon thing before? Like I've done no Galaxy. I don't know anything. I've only moderated
No.
stuff.
Tony,
You've
you
never
haven't done
done
any?
it.
I've done them for an entire year and a half now, I
So
think.
you're a veteran. You're who Jan sent to
Mhm.
train us. What do we have to look forward to here at San Jose? Because obviously we're gonna wake up early on Sunday or Saturday at least, you and I, and we're gonna do
Yes.
some running. So I was like, wait, Steven, our buddy Steven, who does the videography for GalaxyCon, we went to lunch. He's like, the panels go to like, GalaxyCon goes to like 3 a.m. And I was like, what?
Mhm.
Like they've got these after dark burlesque shows. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, that's what we were talking about.
what is that?
So the GalaxyCon is something unlike anything, and I feel like I'm advertising them half the time. When I
Sure.
was just on like a local news spot for Raleigh, and they were asking kind of like what type of convention it is, and it is by far, it's what reminds me of old anime conventions in the 90s,
Okay.
where you have like the exhibition floor, you have all your favorite artists that you've ever wanted to talk to, you have all the voice actors, all the celebrities. You could do a photo op, you could not do a photo op, you can go to panels. And then once it hits like dinner time slash after, when they close the show floor down, they have all these crazy events like wrestling, like nerd wrestling, and like hired wrestlers. They're also guests of the show. There's tattoos that you can get. There's burlesque shows. I've been to a couple. They're amazing. Some of the ones that I've seen touring in the times that I have seen them, some of the coolest numbers that I've ever seen. And that's from someone who's lived a whole bunch of different cities, seen shows in New York, Toronto, Orlando, all these places. Like they have such a cool crew, and they do so many interesting things in and outside of the show. So people that don't sleep have an array of things that they can do. And I have to work all day, so I go to bed immediately after. And
Yeah, I think
but,
maybe I'll take a look Saturday night at some of that stuff,
it's
but
worth it.
like, yeah, I
It's
mean,
very
I
fun.
want to learn a little bit about it. Tony, are you performing in any of the after
Yeah, are
dark
you going to be
things?
wrestling?
I saw that
I'll
there
be
was a.
dancing. I'll
We
do
have a,
burlesquing.
you and I are doing a panel at like 6:30 or 7 or something. I thought that was
Okay,
odd, but this is making a lot more sense now that they go late into the evening.
dude,
But
It's fun
I
too.
texted Jan
Like I feel
immediately.
like it's very casual and like flows really well. Like
I
you
was
can
like,
take a
Jan,
break when needed.
you hired like a humanoid pumpkin. Like if it hits 8 o'clock, if the moonlight
She knows
touches
what
me, they'll
she's
know my
doing
true
though.
form.
She knows
Yeah,
what she's doing. They probably picked that time for the specific audience slot, because I've done
sure.
horror ones at like 6 or 7 before, and they're always a lot more lively and like interactive. Like people are actually talking in the audience and interacting with you, which is awesome, because I mean that's kind of what you go to do, right? For a
Yeah.
panel. It's not,
for sure.
we're not going there for work to like listen and take notes. You're there to like interact with the people that make the things. And some of the best, panels I've been on have been GalaxyCon. So
Nice.
Well, this is all valuable information for me that like, and like honestly, like sit next to me on the panel and it's like throw me an elbow
Sure.
or something and be like, John, please stop going nuts. It's just Timothy's on. He's a nice guy. Like you're creeping him out. And then you sit between us and be like, Jonathan, stop it.
So Tony, you're going to be there too?
Yeah, I'm going to be.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing a few the end of this year. I'm doing this one. I'm doing Columbus in December, I think, and I think there's another one.
That's awesome. So well, I can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I feel,
you guys will be friends.
I run your show, but I feel like you completely passed right over Liana's introduction. Like
please. Sorry. Well, it was supposed to be at the beginning of the show. It's okay, Liana.
You passed it on your outline. Let's try this again, ladies and gentlemen. Liana Kangas.
Hello, everyone.
Go ahead and do the
I did roll the carpet out for Tony. But Liana, introduce yourself.
My books.
I want to know where you're from. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm usually not late for podcasts. I am Liana Kangas, a comic illustrator, sometimes writer with accolades such as the new Eisner-winning Godzilla 70th anniversary, as well as
she'll sign it. She'll sign it at GalaxyCon.
I will sign it. Yeah. Star Wars, Star Trek, and my creator-owned series such as Know Your Station at Boom Studios and True Cult at IDW. And I also love making merch and weird stuff. I have a Patreon that has a mail club, and I'm very involved with my nerdy community because they are truly what makes me love telling stories and like relating to people, which is why I love doing conventions and why GalaxyCon is great. But yeah, I sometimes drum, and I have 2 dogs.
That's kind of cool. Well, we talked about the dogs because you can see a piece of art over Tony's right shoulder of his dog right there, a bull terrier.
Here you can see Baxter. He's behind me.
Yeah, Rudy's sleeping right there. Yeah.
Mine would be in here, but if I let them, they might bark at the UPS. So.
What kind of dogs do you have, Liana?
I have a brindle corgi and a rescue mutt that she looks like, I would say, something in between a Staffy and a Chow and maybe an Australian Shepherd. She's really short.
We talked to Tony about his influences going into comics, and I've had Tony on the show several times. Who were the people that you kind of were emulated as you became an artist? Like, what inspired you to kind of take that leap?
So I had a weird sort of career start because I was working a totally different industry day job, and I had always done fine art and just regular art because my grandpa actually was a professional artist. This is actually one of his pieces. Oh, wow. And he taught art for a long time, but when he got older, he ended up starting to have tremors, and he had quit art for a while prior to that, but I forced him to get back into it when I was in high school, college, because I was like, you're going to do this with me. And we got really close, and I started painting more. I learned how to oil paint. I learned how to do all that stuff. And for school, I did something completely different, even though I'm sure I could have gone to art school. Art school, as you all know, is extremely expensive. So I went the cheap route. So when I left my day job, I actually left to go live in Toronto. And turns out when you're in your early 20s, it's very difficult to make friends for the first time after leaving your hometown after 25 years. So I ended up working at a comic shop and managing it for a while. And that's how I met one of my friends who was an animator for Gorillas and Sector 9 and a couple other movies. And every time he'd come into the shop or come over, he'd be like, why aren't you drawing comics? I don't understand. And I'm like, I don't see where you think you know where you're getting at. Why do you think that I want to do that? Obviously, it's because he was looking at everything I was drawing and I was storytelling. So I started asking him for advice and started going to TCAF, which is a free Toronto Comics Arts Festival, met a ton of folks way early on before I started pursuing like Chip and Babs and a couple other folks. And those ended up being my now valuable, amazing peers who are wonderful, and ended up pursuing and doing indie comics and anthologies and worked my way up from there. And it's almost been 10 years, and it's certainly been a time, and I have done a lot. Now
I mean,
that I look back at it.
you checked some pretty badass fandoms, like the most recent Eisner-winning Godzilla. You got the Star Wars, the Star Trek. How long did you live in Toronto? Were you working at the Snail?
I was not working at the Snail. I was working at the Labyrinth.
And do you know this kid Word Burglar who was just on Geekscapists? Who's like, he was just on Geekscape. He's a local like comic book rapper in Toronto who just put out like a comic of all these they're all his songs interpretive as comics, and it's a pretty incredible piece of work. He's a
do not know him, but
he's
I
cool.
only lived there 2 years. So my favorite Toronto reference is probably, I think it's Kate Beaton's the Spider-Man that always rode his skateboard everywhere. Met him multiple times, which is great. But Toronto's a lovely city, and I wish I could live there for forever. A lot of people tend to think I'm Canadian, which is really interesting.
It's about your politeness. Yeah, it's because you're nice. The Godzilla book. You tell me about this Eisner-winning Godzilla book, because I feel like this Godzilla right now, like Marvel's got its hand in Godzilla. We've got DC doing some Godzilla in the Kong stuff, and then they've got their actual legendary Godzilla stuff. So I'm just a Godzilla fan. I'll read Godzilla with Spider-Man. I'll read it with Batman. I'll read Godzilla anytime.
So something about this specific, I think, project. It was actually brought on by David Marriott, who is a freelance editor in comics right now, but previously worked at Boom and IDW at the time. And my assistant editor of True Cult, Jake, has now taken over Godzilla. And I think those two at the time, which was, I think, 2 years ago at this point, because I remember walking around San Diego the year before last talking about the story with Casey for the first time, and then drawing it 6 or 8 months later, but thinking like, oh, that seems like such a cool project. I wonder how they're going to do that, and seeing like the lineup, such a short lineup, but like so stacked, like Michael Conrad, Joel Jones, all his EJ Sue, just the things that Toho let us do has been like really cool. And I think we all got to do things that, a lot of folks haven't done before. So I feel like while Marvel and all these other folks do have the license, I think that David and Jake really had this interesting vision with Toho at the time. And I'm really proud of what they did, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I've had Chris Black, who show runs Monarch on Apple, the Godzilla
love
show.
That show so much.
Cool.
Love it.
Chris has become a dear friend, and his stories of Toho just seem like a dream. Like this, like a collab. He'll send me photos of the offices, and I'm just like, this is a dream come true. This gig with, when
Godzilla. I went to Celebration, I literally was just like, I would just like to walk by the offices, to waft in the in the creative air of people,
Yeah, they're so cool that I'm like, dude, I don't want these photos anymore, man. I don't want to just live like this. But one day when we make the Gamera series, we're gonna be good. What's going on with Gamera? That's what I always ask. I'm like, hey, what's going on with Gamera? Or if you guys are big kaiju, I had a peer in film school from Japan give me a box set of these Damajin movies. Do you know Damajin? He's like a giant statue, and he's like a god of vengeance. And it's a statue. It's a giant statue that overlooks a village, and when you anger it, the statue breaks free of the rock mountain and just unleashes vengeance. Those movies were great. Technically a kaiju, right? It's a giant statue. It's kaiju sized, not a monster. I don't know. It's a deity probably, but those movies are great. I'd love to see those. I don't know when they made them. I think they made them in the 70s. Sorry, I'm off track. Liana, bring me back. Do you have a list of things for Tony as a veteran? You're a veteran. Do you have a list of things for Tony going into San Jose that's like, you're going to want to bring this? This is how it's not like a typical convention, because I just saw Tony in San Diego. He's a veteran of that, but how is it different? What should he bring, and what should he not leave San Jose without doing? Like at a GalaxyCon, what should he not like? You gotta experience this that they do.
Well, if you're a San Diego veteran, this will seem like a vacation and cakewalk for you. So they make it very easy. It's run so well. There's so much room in between aisles. Just make sure that you're on time to everything, which is even hard to mess up because their volunteers are always there to escort you to panels and things, which is great. I would say what's interesting is with you doing the 5K, I actually, my most favorite memory of San Jose so far has actually been Casper Wingard and I were both on weird time zones because he's, I believe, based in the UK and I'm 2 hours behind. And I was getting up at like 4 a.m. in San Jose. So I was like, hey, you're the only one that I know that's awake. Do you want to go on a walk? Because I don't want to go by myself, you know?
No, should you? Yeah.
And getting to just walk around the streets, dead silence, no one's around. It's like very beautiful out. 10 out of 10. I do think the only coffee shop that's open though at like 6, I think there's only one downtown. So if you need coffee, maybe get it at the hotel before you leave if you plan on walking at 4 or 5 a.m.
Okay. So if you're an insomniac like me, Tony, that's a good piece of advice. Or just grab, just cut your bed sheet, make a costume, and come join us for the run, Tony. Come on, if you're gonna be up, just do so. Well, maybe not a white bed sheet. Don't do that. I don't want you running around. Never mind.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Liana just covers her face. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. But find a costume. Come join us.
Have you ever been to a hotel that didn't have white bed sheets? I don't know how I'd feel about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only option for making a costume. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I won't. Yeah, I got you. I understand what you're getting.
You just buy one on the show floor on Friday.
Buy one on the show floor on Friday and run around in it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the last San Jose that we did, actually, I think I bullied me and another artist, Kayla Valerio, bullied everyone into buying the same exact shirt. So we all wore it on one day. So stupid. Like, that could be fun. Very fun.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
I like doing weird stuff.
If you do any group costumes like that at this one, you let me know. I want to be a part of the t-shirt gang. I hate to be left out.
Absolutely.
Incredible promo.
I would never leave you out, ever.
Okay, Tony's in for the t-shirt gang. We're not going to force you to do the run at all. Nobody's forced to do anything at the GalaxyCon San Jose. We're just forced to have fun. All right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun.
That will be very easy.
Okay. So then okay. I'm not performing the burlesque. I said that was not in the contract.
Now
but everyone needs to bring dollars to tip the performers.
Oh, have you seen that run dry where people don't do that? And that's messed up. You're going to a burlesque.
Oh, I agree. Some people don't know though, you know.
Oh, okay. Have you ever had like a what's the best situation you've had at a GalaxyCon? Like best fan that you hope, maybe if they're in San Jose, maybe they come back. Like you're hoping this fan comes back. I remember you from last year or something like that, where you're just like, they were cool.
I have 2 Patreon folks that actually live locally, and I met one for the first time last year, and it was the nicest. I think I cried because they've just been a patron of mine for a really long time. He is a school teacher. So he puts up a lot of my artwork in the classroom and stuff, and just like a wonderful, just getting to see him and the other patron again. They just, they're in my community and my Discord and like all of my comments all the time. So it's just so weird to finally in person see these people that I see their names all the time or their like icon or whatever. So I'm really excited about that. Also, there's 2 folks that I started following last year that I met at the convention. One is I think they're a part of the Star Wars 501st. He introduced his wife and kid to me, and his kid made me a bracelet, which I was like so honored. That was so sweet. And they brought me like this iconic baked bread that's local. They were amazing. I hope I see them again. And then there's a Star Trek couple that I like a lot that I met last year that I think they might be local too. So this is the one show that I'm like, I know so many fans, I think, going maybe because they all made such a long lasting impact on me last year that I've been like so excited to go
That's great.
back for this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Looking at the list of celebrities that they've got, they got some of the Daredevil cast, they have the Scream cast, some of the Scream cast, they have all sorts of people, some wrestlers. Like, who are some of the people that you're like, hey, I'd love to just say hi and tell them I appreciate some of their work, like as a fan myself? You've looked at the list, Tony, or anybody? Like,
I have a new policy where I don't talk to anybody that I'm impressed by because I always screw it up, and so I am just if I do like somebody's work, I'll maybe do this. That's
okay.
I feel. Yeah. At San Diego Comic-Con, I made such an ass out of myself every time I saw somebody that I loved, that I'm just not doing it anymore. I don't know how to do it. I don't. People come
Tony,
up to me.
Can we get examples?
Tony,
I want to know examples.
And it could just be in your head, brother. Like,
Definitely, it's in my head. But that's where I live too, so I can't have it there.
Sure.
With me all day long.
You're like, stupid. Why did I say that? Still stupid.
1000%. There's a person who rarely goes to conventions. I love them so much, and I've never met them. And they wrote my favorite single issue of a comic. They write my favorite comics, and I have friends that are friends with them, and they're like, come over and meet them. And I knew, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is gonna not, because it's so important to me how I feel about them and their work, that if I ruin it for myself, it's never them. It's always me saying something.
You're just always reminded.
Probably not as bad as you
scenario.
remember, unless there was an injury involved, like physical injury.
It was just me, you want to, and then you're like, well, maybe we'll become best friends. Maybe they'll be interested in knowing about my work. That's where I'm going. But then it never goes that way. So I hope people come up to me, and I hope they go up to the cast of Daredevil and Scream. Of course, Nev Campbell. Are they going to be there?
I know that Matt Lillard, who's been on Geekscape, will be there. It'd be nice to say hi. Jamie Kennedy, who's been on Geekscape, will be there. Giancarlo Esposito, who helped me propose to Heidi on stage at LA Comic-Con. Not from Stream, but like I'm looking forward to seeing Giancarlo, and like Mark Henry is a wrestler from WWE who wrestled my brother, and he's a steer guy, and I want to say hi to him. But damn, Tony, you got to let yourself off the hook for some of these, because I'm sure that they were like, hey, that guy was really nice. I should check out the local man thing. I should check out that local man thing.
I hope that people come up to Liana and I and the cast of Scream, and with no whatever is ruined inside of me that makes me like this. I hope that they come up freely and they want to talk, because I'm ready to make this a very beautiful interaction for them. Because I'm also at the same time, I'll be like, oh, what if I ruin that for them? What if they can't look at Stray Dogs without thinking about that time they embarrassed themselves or whatever? So we're going to have good times. Me and the
real.
So real.
Yeah, I hope that Tony doesn't discover that whatever money I would have been spending at the burlesque, I'm gonna be like going up to someone and be like, hey man, here's $20. I just bought you this comic called Local Man. Flip through it. The guy over there, he's really shy. Go up to him and tell him about the Local Man. Here, he's got this kitty cat book. He got this book about dogs. Your kids are gonna love it. He's got this dog book. It looks like a Disney, right? Your kids are gonna love this dog book. Go talk to him and say hi.
Yes.
Tony, real quick, has anybody bought the book thinking it's a cute dog book, Stray Dogs, and then come back and be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It just came to me, so I had to ask.
Usually I stop them because I used to draw My Little Pony, and so there is sort of like, sometimes I'll have a table that'll have kids books and then not kids books that look like kids books right next to each other. And so I do have to, usually I'm pretty good about stopping people if it looks like they're buying Stray Dogs for a 6-year-old or whatever. But if they're buying for like a 10-year-old, then I just go like, what's their level? How they, do they watch Stranger Things? Where are we at?
Yeah.
I stopped Heidi from reading it. No offense, but like 2 issues in, she's like, it's getting a little, I was like, I read issue 3 and I was like, cutting you off, sweetie. cutting you off. I love you. Cutting you off.
Yeah, Liana, I imagine kids see your stuff and it always looks like it's so colorful, and they're just like, oh, I can't wait
all
to
the
look.
time,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time. And I don't have my only YA experience was Star Wars, and it's not even in print because it was before the well, now I have another Star Wars, but
It's extended universe. Is that what they call it? The extended universe.
It was IDW, but a lot of times, like small children, like 6-year-olds, will come up and start pulling out stickers and things like that because they are so bright. And a lot of them, you know, I think one was like Nosferatu, and I was like, I don't know, maybe don't buy that. But then other ones are like Batman Beyond characters that are so fucking deep cut that I'm like, well, they're not gonna know what that is. It's fine. Like,
yeah,
as long as the parent is fine with it. But,
and imagine
books for sure. Yeah.
How exciting it'll be for them if 20 years from now, if they figure out what it is and they're just like, that was on my lunchbox my whole childhood.
I've got cred. I got cred for the teacher because the teacher knew what it was.
Yeah.
Their child. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody you want to meet, Liana, beyond your fans who are going to come and be like, hello?
The mayor of San Jose. No, I don't know. Matthew Lillard seems like he would be fun to talk to.
He was awesome on the show. He's incredible. I love him.
I think he's cool.
Have you read about the Local Man? Do you know the creator of the Local Man?
I'll be there. Did you guys see SLC?
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
SLC Punk is my Matthew Lillard. I love it when he says,
"It's great.
How many players die? You fucking idiot."
Well, guys, I won't keep you, and we're going to talk again soon in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days.
4 days.
But thank you guys for coming and talking. I want people who are listening to this and may not, know, but most of them are going to listen on the podcast network over the audio feed. But where can they find some of your stuff? I know that Tony, you got the hardcover. We got the Godzilla book from Liana. We're going to know more about you guys more and more very soon. Where can they find more of your work and put money in your pockets?
You can find me at lianakangas.com. Obviously really easy to spell. And I also have a Patreon, which is Patreon/Liana Kangas. But hopefully that'll be in the detailed description notes
I'll throw it in there.
of the episode. Otherwise I'll be at GalaxyCon St. Louis, Des Moines, San Jose, Columbus, and maybe more for the rest of the year because I decided this is my tour year. So I'm on tour. Come see me.
Nice.
Amazing. Tony.
I'm at Tony Fleecs everywhere. You can buy original artwork and sign up for my mailing list on tonyfleecs.com. And my books come out. I feel like I got at least 1 or 2 come out every month. Right now, you can get Feral every month from Image Comics. The Thing comes out from Marvel every month. The new volume of Feral just came out last week, volume 3. So if you haven't tried that yet, or if you just like to read it in trades, you can get the 3rd trade in stores now. It's a zombie story about cats.
In Geekscapists, they both have really active Instagrams where they put up the information. So, like, I know Tony at least has, like, this is what I got in the shops this week, and he throws those posts up so you can't miss a beat. We're Geekscape. I think we have 40 shows on this freaking network at this point. And we have this new website coming that I saw proofs of over the last week. We've been approving stuff. The website's coming soon. And in nothing much to report here other than what you guys, if you guys are longtime listeners, you know the drill. We'll see you guys. Hope to see you guys at GalaxyCon San Jose. I'll bring the microphones there too, and so we'll see. You might hear it if you subscribe to the podcast. Follow the guests on social. Liana Kangas, Tony Fleecs. Thanks for go out there and tell them thank you for coming on the show. Okay, Geekscapists, show them some love. Thank you guys for being on here.
Yeah,
thank you for inviting us.
I'll see you guys in a few days. Awesome. This will be fun. It'll be great. It'll be great. And Liana, just cut me off whenever you need. Like, hit me with the chair or something.
I'll do it like WWE style.
Yeah, I mean, you think my brother didn't do that? That's how he got it. He sent me a match with John Cena. Like, I didn't know he ever wrestled John Cena. And he sent me this match. He's like, "You've seen this, right?" And I was like, "I've never seen your match against John Cena." It was so much fun. They're friends, so like they were having some fun together, and I like it when it shows because they're being a little silly in the ring. I don't think WWE liked it supposedly, but the boys liked it, and it was hilarious. And it's been like 15 years, so who cares? All right, love you both. See you in San Jose. Okay, thanks for coming on Geekscape. All right,
bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Tony. Let's see.
Did